The battery is dead. The fire is dead. And soon I'll follow too. It's funny what your mind goes to when you're freezing to death. You don't think about the pain. You don't even think about it scratching at the door. You think about how it started. You think about the sun. Why? Why did we come here? Why did I bring them? I can see it all so clearly, like it was a different lifetime. It it just started with a road trip. We were in Maya's Sprinter van, a big lifted 4x4 beast. Felt invincible inside the thing. Buck was in the back loading ammo crates next to Maya's drone cases. He was laughing, telling us that this was going to be the easiest hunting trip of his life. And Isaac, he was sitting up front, clutching his Bible, looking at the tree lines. After all, he was the most afraid one among us. And for me, I just wanted closure. I just wanted to stay there a while, pack up my uncle's cabin, and go home. We stopped at the gas station on the edge of the reservation. The last touch of civilization, they say. I remember the smell of gasoline and stale coffee. While Buck was trying to charm the cashier and Maya was complaining about the signal dropping, I went to pay. The attendant was an old man with eyes cloudy like milk. He didn't look at me. He looked past me, at the camping gear on the van. He leaned over the counter, his voice barely a rasp. The snow muffles around there, son. So, if you hear your friends calling for help from the trees, you check if they're standing in the room with you first, okay? I froze, but then I smiled. I thought he was just trying to scare the city kids. I went back to the van. We laughed about the spooky local. Buck even called him a crazy old coot, although I didn't like it very much. As we crossed into the Black Pine Ridge, the world changed. The trees stopped looking like trees. They looked like old bones, twisted and black against the snow. It was 3 p.m., but the light was already dying. About an hour in, Maya got quiet. She was staring out the window, her face pressed against the glass. Caleb? She whispered. How fast are we driving? 40, I said. Road slick. She didn't blink. There's something running next to us. We all looked. I saw nothing but blurring pines. Buck laughed. It must be a moose, Maya. A wolf, maybe. They're fast, after all. On 2 legs? She asked. Her voice trembling. It was weaving through the trees, Caleb. It was looking right at me. We did what any rational group would do. We told her she's going crazy. We told her it was the motion blur. We gaslighted her into the silence. The road ended. We killed the engine. And that's when the silence hit us. Real woods have noise. Life. This place, it was a vacuum. No birds, no wind. Just a ringing in your ears that makes you want to scream. We stepped out into the cold, and there it was. Uncle Silas' cabin, perched on the rise over the black lake. Grey wood, dark windows. It looked like a skull resting in the snow. Home sweet home, Buck muttered. I walked up the steps, the wood groaned under my boots, and then I saw it. The front door. The front door was cracked open, just an inch, of course. Uncle Silas was paranoid. He had 3 deadbolts on that door. He never left it unlocked. It looked like he left in a hurry. Standing in the front of that open door, nobody moved. The dark gap between the frame and the wood felt like a mouth waiting to snap shut. Then, a sound like a pistol shot echoed from the tree lying to our right. Maya nearly jumped out of her skin. She scrambled back against the van, shaking. "I'm not going in there," she whispered. "Someone's watching us." Buck didn't flinch, but his hand tightened on his rifle. He laughed, but it sounded forced. "It's a frost quake, Maya. Trees freeze so hard that the sap explodes. It's just wood popping." I put a hand on her shoulder. "Buck's right. It's just a cold. We have the guns, so don't worry. We're fine." It took a minute, but we talked her down. We crossed the threshold. The inside was a wreck. Not a crime scene, just chaos. Chairs were toppled. Drawers had been yanked out and dumped on the floor. And there was paint everywhere. Industrial red and black paint. Cans kicked over, dried in frantic splashes across the walls and the floor. It looks like Uncle Silas has been trying to renovate in a panic. The air felt heavier inside than out. It smelled like stale turpentine and something faint, like wet pennies. We needed to distract ourselves, so we cleaned. It gave us something to do with our hands. The cabin was small. There was one rickety bunk bed in the corner. Maya took the top bunk. She wanted to be high up. Isaac took the bottom. Buck and I cleared a space on the floor near the fireplace for our sleeping bags. Buck insisted on sleeping closest to the door. "Tactical position," he joked. I was on my knees, scrubbing a patch of dried red paint near the entryway. It was thicker than the rest, crustier. For a split second, my stomach dropped. It looked exactly like dried blood, dark, arterial, crimson. I stopped scrubbing. The silence in the room seemed to spike. Then I looked to my left. A dented can of crimson primer was lying on its side, leaking onto the floor. I let out a breath I didn't know I was holding. "Get a grip, Caleb," I thought. "It's just paint." I scrubbed it away. The water turned a muddy pink. I ignored it. We built a fire. We ate our cold rations. We told ourselves we were safe. But as the sun went down, the shadows in the cabin stretched. And the silence outside, it stopped feeling empty. It started feeling like I was listening. The nightmare started the first night. We all woke up at 3 a.m., gasping, sweat freezing our skin. It wasn't just a bad dream. It was the same dream. Maya heard her dad. Buck heard his ex-wife. I heard my mother. They were all outside the door. They all asked to be let in. And they all said the exact same thing. "I'm so empty. I need to eat." We sat in the dark for an hour, terrified. But humans have a fatal flaw. We rationalize everything. "It's the power of suggestion," Isaac whispered, though he didn't look convinced. We were stressed. We fed off each other's fear, mass hysteria. We nodded. We wanted to believe him. We wanted to believe we were just city kids freaking out in the woods. Morning came. The sun didn't make things brighter. It just turned the gray world white. The pipes were frozen solid. We needed water. Buck grabbed 2 large jerry cans and his rifle. He was restless. He hated being cooped up. "I'll go down the ice hole," he said, zipping up his parka. "Be back in 20. Don't let the ghosts get you." He flashed that cocky grin of his. While he was gone, I tried to fix the stuck drawer in Uncle Silas' desk. I yanked it hard and it flew open. Inside, buried under some receipts, was a leather-bound notebook. Uncle Silas' diary. I started reading. The first few months were boring. Generator repairs, wood counts, but then the handwriting changed. It got jagged, spiky. November 1st. The woods are too quiet. November 3rd. I hear it clicking on the back wall. Tap, tap, tap. November 5th. Had the dream again. Mom was at the door. She wanted to eat. My blood ran cold. The clicking, the dream. It felt so unreal. Maya looked over my shoulder. She laughed, but it sounded brittle. Caleb, look at the prose, she said, pointing to a line. The trees have teeth. He was writing a story. He was bored and writing a horror novel. We read this subconsciously, picked up on the themes, and projected it into our dreams. It's confirmation bias. She was using big words to build a wall around her fear. Yeah, I lied. Yeah, you're probably right. It's just a story. I didn't finish reading. I closed the book before I got to the end. The door opened. Buck walked in. He had the water cans. He set them down by the hearth. Water's here, he said. He walked over to the fire and stood there. But something was off. Buck usually complains about everything. He would have come in crushing the cold, complaining about the weight of the water, make a joke about his frozen toes. But today he was silent. He just stood there. I thought he'd seen something or something has happened. Evening fell. We sat around the table, eating heated up stew. Buck didn't eat. He just sat there, holding his spoon. He was staring at Maya. Not looking at her, staring, unblinking, like a shark watching a seal. You okay, man? I asked. You're not hungry? He turned his head slowly towards me. I ate earlier, he said. His voice was flat, monotone. You ate what, snow? I jokingly asked. He didn't answer, just turned back to the fire. Maybe we should head back tomorrow, Maya said, her voice small. I don't like here. Buck spoke up instantly. No. We all looked at him. The road's blocked, he said. We wait. And he gave a faint smile. Kind of a show of his teeth, maybe. We're safe inside, he said. So we decided to turn in. Isaac took the bottom bunk, Maya took the top. I crawled into my sleeping bag. Buck stayed up. I'll take first watch, he said. He sat in the chair by the door, the rifle across his lap, facing us, watching us sleep. I closed my eyes, telling myself I was being paranoid, telling myself my friend was just tired. The second night wasn't a rest, it was a siege. We fell asleep out of pure exhaustion, but the nightmares were waiting for us. It was the same dream. My mother at the door, but this time she wasn't knocking. She was scratching. Caleb, she wept. It's so cold. My skin is cracking. Let me in. I want to see you. I want to taste you. I woke up screaming, but no sound came out. My throat was paralyzed. The cabin was dead silent. The fire was just glowing embers. But outside, just beyond the wall, I heard it. It sounded like a wolf tearing into a deer carcass, wet and violent, and a low, vibrating growl that shook the floorboards. I looked at the chair by the door. Buck's shift, the chair was empty. The rifle was leaning against the wall, untouched. Panic, cold and sharp, hit me. He went outside, I thought. I scrambled out of my sleeping bag. I shook Isaac. I shook Maya. Buck's gone, I hissed. Wake up! We huddled together, scanning the dark room. Then Maya pointed. Her hand was trembling, so bad that she couldn't keep it straight. The door, she whimpered. We looked. Buck hadn't gone outside. He was standing at the door, facing it, but his posture was wrong. He was leaning forward, his forehead pressed against the wood, and his head was tilted, not just a little bit. It was bent as a sharp, sick angle. He was pressing his ear against the gap in the door frame. We crept closer. The crunching outside had stopped. Now, the only sound was Buck. He was whispering. It wasn't English. It wasn't anything I recognized. It sounded like a Kavia Maktu, guttural, clicking sound, ancient sounds as if he was talking to the thing. Change. Buck, I called out. My voice cracked. He didn't move. He kept whispering. The tempo got faster, agitated. Buck, Ezek shouted, stepping forward. The whispering cut off instantly. Slowly, agonizing slowly, Buck straightened his neck. He turned around. The look on his face haunts me more than the monster ever could. It was blank, a wax mask. But then in a blink, his face changed and he was Buck again. The terrified eyes, the confusion, the sweat. What? He gasped, looking around wild-eyed. What happened here? We stared at him. You were talking to the door, Maya said. Buck rubbed his face. He looked surprised. I fell asleep while I was guarding. I was dreaming. I was arguing with my ex-wife again. I do sleepwalk sometimes. You know that, right, guys? He walked out to the table, hands shaking, and drank a cup of water. He looked so human, so fragile. It's okay, Isaac said, though he didn't lower his voice. Sleepwalking, stress, it happens. We gave him water. We told him to lie down. I took the watch. I sat in the chair with the rifle. But as Buck climbed into his sleeping bag, I watched him. He turned away from the fire, facing the wall, and just before the shadows covered him, I saw it, a smile. The next morning, the light was gray and flat. I don't think any of us really slept. We just laid there, waiting for the sun, listening to the cabin settle. And there were noises, clear ones, heavy snapping in the brush, low grunts. I told myself it was a bear. I told myself it was just the wind playing tricks on a tired mind. But deep down, I knew bears don't pace in circles for 6 hours. I was at the stove, heating up some canned soup, trying to bring some normalcy back in the group when the door flew open. It was Maya. She wasn't wearing her hat. Her face was pale. Caleb, she said. Her voice was too tight. There's something I want to show you. I turned off the stove. The look in her eyes. It wasn't fear. It was confusion. The kind of confusion that breaks your brain. I followed her around the back of the cabin, towards the tree line. She stopped and pointed. Tell me that's a bear, please, she whispered. Please, Caleb, tell me that's just a big bear. I looked down, and I stopped dead in my tracks. There, pressed deep in the fresh snow, was a pair of footprints. They weren't big in the way a grizzly's paw will. They were long, unnaturally long. They looked like a human feet that has been stretched on the rack, narrow, skeletal heels, and toes that dug deep into the earth, ending in sharp, dragging slash marks, claws. I stared at them. My brain tried to map them to an animal, a wolf, a cat, or even a bear, but the biology was just wrong. Nothing moves like that. Nothing born on this earth walks like that. I looked up. Maya was staring at me, waiting for an answer, waiting for me to fix reality. I saw how close she was to cracking, so I lied. It's a bear, Maya, I said, forcing a laugh. Look at the edges. The wind melted the snow and distorted the shape. It stretched the print on. It's just a distorted bear track. Don't worry about it. She let out a breath. Her shoulders sagged. Right, she said, nodding too fast. Right, wind distortion, that makes sense. She walked back to the cabin. I stayed for a second longer, staring at the tracks. The toes were 5 inches long. I kicked snow over them until they were gone. I walked back inside. But I wasn't just scared anymore. I was hunting.
Hi guys, this is my first story, and the story was written totally by me with the help of some references from the internet and all that. And the part 2 will drop soon and it'll be devastating. So I just wanted to know that if I should go with the same voice or change it to other voices. Just drop it in the comment so that you can help me grow. And yeah, the channel can only improve by your love. So please like and subscribe, guys.